In the last video, we were introduced to the idea of adding angles to our complex numbers, and we saw a few formulas, and I want to make sure that we are all on the same page, so I'm going to tie those formulas together in this video and give you, I guess, like a mini review on how we got those numbers. So just very, very brief. So starting from the beginning, we have this formula for our complex numbers, right? We say that a complex number, which in this case is going to be z over here, so this is the complex, is going to be made out of a real number plus a real number that has been multiplied by this I over here, where I has the property that if it were to be squared, it would be -1. So we have this over here, and I proposed, what if we were to write this in the form of the modulus, which is going to be, if we were to have this written out like this, we would have a modulus r. We would have this point over here being z is equal to x plus iy. We would have this point on, this was the realm of real numbers, axis over here, we would have x, and we'd have y up here. So if I said that we were to have this over here, we could write this in terms of this angle that we have down here, which we call theta. So I propose that if we were to do this, we would have to have, how would we write the x? Well, the x would be written as this. We'd have that modulus r, your hypotenuse, being written as the cosine of the angle between them. And then we'd have obviously the sign for the y coordinate over here, because it's, you know, the opposite, right? Think of SOHCAHTOA. Well, what if we were to just plug all these values in? We would go ahead and we would get this. We plug the x in over there. Simple enough. We're going to get our, whoops, I say simple enough and then I go and fuck it up. Great job. So r of the cosine of the angle plus I multiplied by sine of the angle, and r, where, okay, this is a disaster. There we go. And then we were to factor r out, right? We saw this all in the last video, right? So there we go. And then we have I sine of the angle theta. There we go. So that was another way that we could write our complex numbers. But there's another way, because I showed you Euler's formula, which would say that e to the power of I multiplied by the angle theta is going to be equal to cosine of the angle plus I sine of the angle, which we see that this is the exact same term over here, right? These are the exact same thing. So you can actually take this guy and plug him in over there, giving us yet another way to write our complex numbers, which the complex number z is going to be r e, which was raised to I and the angle. So that's simple enough. Now, if we were to want to raise z to something, right? Say we were to want to find something like, I don't know, the square root of z, the square root of our complex number. Well, this is where having something like this is going to come into play. So we would be able to calculate this a lot easier. So now we have e raised to I multiplied by the angle. We know that this is going to be the same thing as having this whole term over here raised to the power of 1/2. And we know that if we're going to want to apply this, we are going to apply this exponent to the r, and we'll apply this one to the group of exponents that we have over here, which would give us something like this: r raised to the 1/2 multiplied by e raised to the I multiplied by the angle all over 2. So you're essentially just adding it in there, right? Because they're all going to be exponents. They're all going to be grouped together. And that's what we're going to get. So it's going to give us an easier way to see how these things will affect us, because it's going to be easy to note how that angle is going to change. You can essentially say that the angle, when you're multiplying that angle by that value over here, it's going to be affecting the angle in there, right? So the angle will be the thing that's going to be changing, and you can look for patterns on how that angle were to change. So simple enough. I just wanted to tie everything together to make sure we're on the same page. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll answer you as soon as possible, because I want to make sure we all understand this before moving on to some new topics. Maybe I'll look at an example in the next video. So leave a question below and I will answer you in under 24 hours. If it's a good question that I haven't covered yet, I will make you a video for it and I'll send it to you. And if any of my videos have helped you out, please subscribe. It means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.